in October 2023, we went to like a con, but it was for a podcast called True Crime Obsessed.
Are we recording right now?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we went to True Crime Obsessed Fest.
Obsessed Fest 2. It was the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of drama went down. And we were obsessed with all the internet gossip.
Yeah. Well, because also there was a build up to it.
Yeah.
And then it all blew up at the actual con.
Yeah.
And that it was like stories for days. And so.
And when we were there, like we went to a bunch of talks that were put on by different podcasts. And we just kept looking at each other and we were like, we could do that too.
Yeah.
Tell me more about the drama. Was that
Yes.
the Tara stuff?
Yeah. It was the
Tara
Tara
Newell.
stuff. Exact Tara Newell.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
who was
Ellen.
right on that one.
It's hard.
So
you know
Tara
what? We know who's in the
Newell-
wrong.
Tara Newell kind of got poisoned by Patrick Hines.
Yeah. Who's like the main guy in that
Of
podcast.
True Crime Obsessed. He started a podcast network.
Yeah.
And he was not getting along with another podcaster on the network because they had been friends since college.
With whom he had done a show that was pretty popular.
And they stopped doing it together because I think they had too much like past history and like he would be mean to her on the podcast.
Talking
Yeah.
about like to Tara or his partner.
Oh,
His
so he's-
partner
yeah.
Ellen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of had a falling out, but they were already, in contract to do this podcast convention or whatever. And so I guess since Patrick was in charge, he sort of told like all the other content creators like not to be friends with her. He was like, she's a huge problem. So Tara Newell like yelled at Ellen on an elevator because she was told by Patrick Hines that like she sucked. So she said something, God, I don't even remember what she said. She was like, I hope you don't ruin our whole weekend.
Yeah.
And then Ellen...
Like going down
Yeah.
in like an enclosed elevator.
Yeah.
I love it. The idea is like she like gets on the elevator with Ellen and then says that and then you've got to like take the rest of the ride.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ooh, you might
And
want to
Ellen-
have done that in open space, Tara.
Right.
Yeah.
Ellen
yeah.
was like on the way to go do a panel.
Yeah.
And it like freaked her out. And we all just like saw it. And then we came home and we listened to everyone's podcast about it. And then we decided we would make one too.
Yeah. Just a little bit more detail. It was Tara and her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I think
Who's another victim.
yeah, according to Ellen, it was not just they confronted her in the elevator. It's like they sort of followed her out and she felt with the presence of the guy, she felt
Okay.
pretty threatened.
I was under. Am I wrong to say? I mean, wasn't Tara and David? Is that his name? Or Patrick? No, Patrick.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Weren't they dating at the time?
No, she was dating this other guy who you're talking about. And
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name, but
comes
he
from
was
another case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
He's like the
they-
son of a victim who now does advocacy and
I mean, I don't really follow the drama too much, but
you don't seem like a drama guy to me.
right.
Yeah.
I'm a little too serious, I think.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it was Collier Landry.
Oh, that's it.
Scrolling through my feed, all I see is bullshit. Fake news, clickbait, gotta sift through all of it. Oh. Like share, retweet, trying to keep up with the trends, but it's all just a facade, man, it's all pretend. Online bullshit, that's all it is. You say you're living large, but I know it's just a myth. Online bullshit, can't you see? We're all caught up in the nonsense, it's time to break free.
Didn't Collier though and Tara like break up like
I think they
like,
did.
during this time, like the same sort of time frame?
Oh, might have been.
think-
I wasn't sure.
I think shortly after they did, but I don't know any
Okay. 'cause
details.
I thought that was the fallout from the whole thing, but I guess
It might be.
yeah.
Right.
I think it happened a little bit after.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome to Online Bullshit.
Welcome. Now that you have our origin story.
Yeah. We're here with Steven, who is from the YouTube channel Cotton Star Crime Scene.
correct.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And so I discovered you at last year's Crime Con because you posted some really high quality pictures of Burke Ramsey. And
I think you were the one to be like, Burke's here.
Yeah,
Like the first one,
I
yeah.
noticed him. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because, okay, so we were standing in line to meet John Ramsey because how could you not?
right.
It was just
Mhm.
crazy
Yeah.
that was an option. And I was
I just want to say, I sent those pictures to some friends of mine who are like, they like true crime, but they were like, this is disturbing to us that this is a thing that you can do. Is to get a picture with him.
Yes.
It's so weird. But anyway, sorry.
So I didn't notice Burke there. I was standing in line and I noticed Judith Phillips and James Kolar because I always thought James Kolar was kind of cute, and I was looking at him like that guy's kind of. And then I was like, no, I know him. And then I was like, oh, I know her too. And no one else was noticing them. And Nathan watched me just freak out.
Yeah.
And
No, you were like a bird, like just looking everywhere. As soon as that happened, you were like, I need to see everything.
Yeah. And CrimeCon is kind of a weird place because crime is serious, and yes, there are victims.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Nathan are not very serious. We're like having a good time and we're laughing at stuff, and then we go, oh my God.
Yeah.
We can't let anyone know what we're laughing at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I didn't feel comfortable like going up to them and talking to them. So I didn't, but I like really wanted to. Anyways, and then I discovered that you had pictures of Burke, and I said, oh, did you see Judith and James? And you said, yeah, we were together. And so I'm curious, how did you guys meet?
I met Mr. Kohler in 2022, I believe. And also that's when I met Judith Phillips and her husband, Thomas Doc Miller, who actually released a book on this case like a few months ago, I think in February.
Oh.
And it was one of I've been to Boulder so many times investigating the case, but I met with Kohler during that trip, and, we sat down and discussed the case and, just kind of like historically went over it and looked at the evidence and told me things I didn't know and, shared what I thought about the case and what I had found. So that was interesting. I also got to talk to Steve Thomas on that trip as well. So I talked to them both. They seem to be good friends.
Really?
Yeah. Which, I would just love to be a fly on the wall during, one of their discussions between, who did it,
Me too.
Patsy or Burke. But I also met, like I said, on the same trip, I met Judith and her husband and went to their home and sat down with them. And
so
Mhm.
you went to Boulder.
So I met them like 4 years ago, I believe. And then last year, since CrimeCon was in Denver, I made another trip to Boulder, and this time, talked with them, interviewed with them. So I stayed with them and talked with them, went to dinner with them. And yeah, I mean, if there's one thing, it's like, what do you dream about? What case, your favorite case or the case that you're most interested in, what would be your dream thing? And here I was finding myself, talking about the JonBenet Ramsey case with people who were really in the thick of it on the inside, have seen things, files, stuff that I actually had never seen, and just sitting down with them at midnight, with a beer, talking about the case. It's like, pinch me, right?
Yeah.
Because, it's like, where else, would you rather be? So, yeah, it's interesting. So we actually, went to crime. We traveled there together, met up, and then we were going to, see the Ramseys. And historically to me, this is a big deal. This case happened back in 1996, and this is the 30th anniversary of it. And there's this sort of eerie quiet, before the storm, kind of right now in the summer of the 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
With John being 80, I believe he's 83 now.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be 83 in December, but, in 5 years or 10 years from now, nobody's going to have that kind of access to the Ramseys
Yeah.
ever again, you know? So,
when he dies.
well, right. And then, you know,
Yeah.
they might just kind of disappear because I don't think John Andrew, you know, is poised enough to continue on.
He's always mad online. He's just always upset.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who is John Andrew? Because I'm not like
That's John's son from his first marriage.
Got it.
And so he's older, like he was in college when the murder happened.
Yeah.
And he just kind of fiercely defends his family.
Okay.
But like, if you were in the family, you probably would too.
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I think so. You know, I think it's really kind of self-preservation in true crime is, you know, an underrated aspect behaviorally in crimes. I mean, people self-preserve themselves, you know, because that's what it's all about. I mean, survival. And so even if John Andrew thought that his dad was involved somehow or knows more than what he's saying or it's all a lie.
Yeah.
He, you know, how does he benefit? You know, he has a family too.
Right.
And his kids are going to have grandkids long after John is gone. So it's like, you know, well, how does it benefit to, you know, it's almost like he has to keep, if the Ramseys are guilty, you know, how's he, you know, it seems like he would want to keep the sort of status quo, you know.
Well, it's kind of the way I'm thinking about it from what I'm hearing. It's just another case of rich people circling the wagons around each other. You know, it's, you know, they're protecting their interests. They're protecting their reputation. And I'm not saying it like has anything to do with like money or inheritance. It's just like, that's what I feel like most families do, but maybe like wealthy people or prominent people are better at it. You know?
I just think they have more power and more access.
Exactly.
More
Yeah.
resources,
Yeah.
Like
definitely.
You and I were talking about John Douglas yesterday, like for John to get the opportunity to just like sit down with John Douglas. And I don't know, that to me is like not every victim's going to get to do that.
Not only that, to sit down with John Douglas with John's lawyer in what but in what I'm sure was a very sort of like curated presentation of John Douglas to John Ramsey and, you know, maybe formed to help convince John Douglas of what John Douglas is now convinced of, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel, John Douglas yesterday was like, I met John Ramsey and you didn't see him cry. He's very stoic in public, but you didn't see him cry. And I'm like, I don't believe you did either. You know, I don't, yeah.
Totally. I mean, you know, John Douglas, I mean, really, I mean, he's a hero to a lot of people.
Yeah.
In the true crime, you know, stratosphere. He was groundbreaking, you know, years ago with the FBI behavioral analysis team, you know, getting that, a part of that, putting it together. But, you know, like I talk about self-preservation, you know, John Douglas, the facts are that John Douglas was contacted. Now, this all happened like within a few weeks of the actual murder.
Okay.
So,
oh, really?
Right.
That I didn't realize.
Yeah, he was involved that quick.
Okay. Oh, of course he was. Sorry.
Right. So I think the official story was that he was hired to investigate to see if John could have done this or something like that. You know, that's
in a profiling sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he was hired by John Ramsey and the Ramsey team. And when he came to Boulder in early January, like I said, this is only a week or two after it happened, John Douglas had no access to the police files or what the police knew at the time. All the information that he got was from the Ramsey attorneys.
I mean, you might as well just say we're hiring an expert witness.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Not only did he not have access to the police files at that time, which you need to investigate a case, right? I mean, you actually have to have access to files. Just getting the information from a team of lawyers and that have a vested interest in John Ramsey's innocence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably not getting the real story or what, you know.
Right.
It's an absolutely useless exercise because you're hiring John Douglas to be like a critical third party, but you're only giving him things that like defend, I would assume, John Ramsey
in the family.
Yeah. It's such a pointless exercise to me. I can't believe anybody's falling for it.
Well, that's kind of John's whole thing.
Yeah.
Is pointless if you ask me.
Okay, yeah.
Like
John Douglas or Ramsey?
John Ramsey.
Okay, got it.
When we went and saw him speak last year, he gives the same points over and over again. That the police looked at them immediately and then they couldn't see past their face.
Yeah.
And that's
if you hear, I'm sorry, I do not like John Douglas, so I'm going to talk about him.
Yes.
But if you listen to John Douglas yesterday, that's basically every case. It's like, I went in, I was right, they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like grievance. Not just with JonBenet, but like a lot of other cases
with
too.
every case, he was like, no, I'm the smartest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was generally the sense we got until we left because he was just so boring. But yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry if you're...
No, I mean...
Okay.
No,
if you have more complicated feelings about John Douglas.
No, I met him a couple years ago.
Yeah.
He spoke about the Ramsey case as well. I think it was in Nashville. The thing is about him is that in the books that he has written and put out there, and his methodologies that are involved, some of them which he helped create when it comes to investigating and solving crimes, he goes against his own writings, his own thoughts, his own feelings when he's investigating the Ramsey case.
Yeah.
It's like completely opposite of what he teaches.
He immediately gets emotionally involved because of John's what do they call them? Crocodile tears. I was about to be elephant tears. But you're immediately like from the get-go, you're like, you're taking an emotional tactic.
And his whole thing is looking at the crime scene and determining who did it based on the crime scene.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like,
it was just so silly.
Well,
anyway, I'm sorry
from
to interrupt.
what he's been told by John Ramsey himself and his lawyers, without actually getting involved with the details of the case. And like what I have read almost every single book on JonBenet and what he writes about it, because I think he revisits the case in like several of his books that he's written over the years. And none of it has ever made sense. So I don't know. I mean, he, like you're talking about, he does seem to have a very elevated ego when it comes to, hey, I'm the one, I can see through things.
Yeah.
I find that, I mean, and also how I know that he hasn't really looked into the details of this case is because when he does say things or write things in later books, he gets details wrong all of the time.
I'm sorry. Can I ask you, could you just give me a brief rundown of John Douglas's like intruder theory or theories, like just in a nutshell? What does he say?
So first of all, his first mistake, is that he takes the ransom note at face value.
Okay.
Wow.
Right? Like it's like a legitimate ransom note, which is crazy if you ask me.
It's incredibly suspicious.
Well, right. At face value. And he continues to go on about the note. And what he says about the note is completely opposite from what, like I said, he is taught and other
staging.
Right.
Yeah.
Staging.
Yeah.
All kinds of things that are just completely different from his own thought process. It's incredible. But what's interesting is he thinks that somebody, of course, because if you look at the note from, like I said, taking that face value, that this was somebody that knew John, had a beef with John, had a grief with John, didn't like John, wanted revenge on John. Because why? Because that's what the note says,
That's, wow.
We respect your business, but not the country that it serves.
Yeah.
Which is just so like,
Right.
It really is out there. And also, yes, it absolutely does. I don't know. I would think if like, you have a case with sexual violence against a child, that would kind of belie the fact that it's like a revenge kidnapping for something the parents did.
Well, that's interesting that
Yeah.
you say that because, and this is another anomaly that I don't understand. He agrees with Lou Smith and his theories. Lou
Yeah.
Smith was great.
Yeah.
Well, his theory and Lou Smith's theory completely are opposite.
Yeah.
They don't jive. I mean, Lou Smith thinks it was a sexual motivated type of crime, and that was the motive, and it may have been
Yeah.
that type of crime.
That's kind of what I thought before I was convinced through
I wore him
experience.
down.
She did. She wore me down.
Yeah, because we watched that stupid documentary that John Ramsey did last year that came out on Netflix. And Nathan came away like, yeah, I think an intruder did it. And I was
No,
like,
honestly, my basic take about John was like, he seems nice. That's how deep I got.
Well, I was saying that his theory is it's not a sexually motivated crime.
Okay.
Those things don't ever cross over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. When the motive is simple, it's for one thing. If you were going to kidnap a child for ransom, your number one goal is to obtain the money.
Right.
Because you're putting your whole life online because you're going to go to the jail for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
If you get caught. So you desperately need the money. You want the money. That's the only thing that matters to you. Okay. Which, of course, there was no call that ever came in for the money.
Right.
Okay.
Also, I just want to say this. The amount of money they were asking for was the bonus check money, the $118,000. It just seems very low for somebody that
to
has
sneak into a house.
What?
To sneak into a house.
Yeah.
And maybe get caught.
Even just to attempt it. It's like, ask for $1 million. He can pay it.
Exactly.
It's mind-boggling.
High risk. It's a high risk type of crime.
For low reward.
Think about,
right.
Think about breaking into someone's house in the middle of the night. How scared are you going to be personally?
So scared.
That you're going to get caught.
I have dreams about this.
Really?
I do. I'm just like, why did I break into this house? They're going to catch me. It's like I was drunk or something and didn't know what I was doing. And then I realized what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're going to catch me.
And then it's like, is it a situation where it's like, then you can't get out? Yep. That makes sense. Anyway.
But anyways, yes. How scared are you to break into a house?
Right. I mean, you're going to be on high alert and guard because not only, you're making the sacrifice because for the money to kidnap a child, right? You're not going to use a loud stun gun and wake up the whole house, especially stun gunning a child, which is going to make her scream after the fact once she gets her motor skills back. You see this in movies all the time. A stun gun does not incapacitate someone only while it's attached to the skin, applied to the skin. So when it's released after a couple of seconds, then that person has the ability. It doesn't knock you out or make you go to sleep, pass out. You are back to pretty much normal. And so you're going to be screaming at, well, what's going on? Mommy, Daddy? You know what I'm saying? So, and to think that after you do that, I'm just going to chill and sit down and write a ransom note. I'm going to write a practice note. I'm going to start over. I'm going to throw it away in the trash. I'm just going to leave the practice note in there because I'm thinking about what I want to write while JonBenet is still alive, essentially, right? I mean, think about it. It doesn't make sense.
You already killed her, but oops, because now you can't get the money probs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so now you're going to sit and write a 3-page note.
In the house.
After you've stashed her downstairs, you're like, you know what? I still think I can get this.
I'm going to go
they're never going to find it.
And get the notebook that's by the phone.
Yeah.
And the pen. And I'm going to sit down and tell him everything I think about him.
Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, if you think critically about this and realistically, if this was a kidnapping that went bad, right, which Lou Smith and John Douglas, think as well, right? because that's the only thing you can think. But I mean, how ridiculous it is to think people don't do that. You know, humans and their behavior follow patterns. They do, like I said, there's a motivation. Okay. So if you're going to kidnap JonBenet for ransom and for 118,000, right? You end up accidentally killing her. I mean, you hit her over the head, and then, I mean, why would you don't say, why would you need to strangle her, whatever, right? But she's dead.
Yeah.
So you're not getting the money anymore. Like you just killed somebody in their own house.
Even the biggest psychopath would be like, I got to get out of here. This went awry. Even for a psychopath, that would be a huge spike of anxiety.
Because you have to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Language.
Yeah.
I mean,
and maybe you take
self-preservation.
the body with you so that you don't leave behind as much evidence.
Yeah. The more we talk about this, the more I'm like, this is nuts.
And if you freak out and you just leave the body, right?
Yes.
Even if you already had written the ransom note, I mean, never mind sitting down afterwards and writing, a note that took at least an hour and a half to construct. It takes 20 something minutes to write it out.
Right.
But, to think about what you want to write and all that stuff, about an hour at least, is what I figured. But even if you had already written the note, you don't leave it. You decide, well, hey, my plan's to shit. I'm not going to leave more evidence back that I, might have my DNA or fingerprints or handwriting evidence. You're going to take the note and get the fuck out, so there's no trace of you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
it does, like, some beggar belief. That, this could happen. Yeah. And I don't know. It's like, do some people just like, I feel like some people are like, well, you can't predict crazy, like what crazy people will do. And I'm like, yeah, actually you can. There are patterns to how even the biggest psychopaths, narcissists work.
Yeah.
And this does not follow any.
Right.
This certainly does not follow what they're telling us.
No.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest hacks of all time, or Dos Ex Machina.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Which basically means a plot fix, right? Like
yes,
your story, you're like, you need a way out of it, right? So, like, so to fix it, right? So for someone to,
it's almost like they're making I think it's Deus Ex Machina storyline.
People on the internet, mostly people on the internet, I like to say, and internet bullshit. This is some real internet bullshit, right? Is that when like you were saying, whenever you see someone go, oh, well, everyone behaves differently and acts differently. Yeah. So you don't know what you would do in that situation. And, the criminal just freaked out. So, hey, nothing's logical or makes sense with a criminal. They're dead wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're dead wrong.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're human beings. We all have evolved to have the same self-preservation and survival instincts and thought patterns.
Yeah.
And so everything must make some sort of logic and sense of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so for anybody to, whenever I see, a comment like that, sure, it is true that everyone does behave and react differently, a little bit differently, in certain scenarios and situations, but it's on a scale. Like if somebody is doing handstands in the middle of or cartwheels in the middle of a police interview, that there's something off about that. You know what I'm saying? That's not like natural, normal behavior.
Yeah.
Like why, you're being questioned about a murder of your friend. Why?
Talking about Amanda Knox?
Oh, yeah.
She's in there.
Yeah.
Jodi Arias.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yes. That whole thing.
Or if you're smiling. In a booking photo or.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's on a scale. So everyone falls into that scale a little bit differently. But if something's not right, okay. For example, if red lights, as human beings, when we see a red light, we're driving in the car, we all stop. 100% of the time, we stop because if we don't, we know
we could get hit.
We're gonna get hit. We're gonna get hurt,
ensues.
killed. Right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's it's survival. I mean, that's what we're gonna do. But if someone blows through a red light, okay, that means there's something really, really off or wrong. right? About their behavior.
Yeah,
Because why are they risking their life doing this?
Right.
And so some sort of situation would have to create that, right? There's something off
Yeah.
from the normal for someone to just blow through a red light.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
they might be altered,
Mhm.
you know, drugs or, you know, alcohol.
Or they could be like paranoid and they're like, I've got to get away from like whoever is following me. Fuck
Right.
the red light. There has to be like some
Right,
sort of
there's some-
compelling motivation, even if it's not real.
Justification.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Sharilla, are you familiar with that?
She's, crash into the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why'd she do that?
I mean, I don't know enough about it.
I'm not familiar with
Okay.
the
Yeah.
details of the case, but it seems like it's a revenge sort of jealous tactic or something, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't her boyfriend
Yeah.
in the car?
And had cheated. And
Yes.
was maybe going to break up with her.
That's what the motive is.
Okay.
Someone who you see this all the time in all the crimes. I mean, Gabby Petito, and I just, talked to her mother down in the lobby before I came up here.
Mhm.
Brian Laundrie, he was losing control
Right.
of his control
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Gabby. She wanted
Mhm.
to branch out and she was getting tired of him being demeaning and keeping her like in this little bubble and shell. And she wanted to post on social media and, like their trip, their
Right.
Well,
and
his
all
whole
this stuff.
his whole van life thing, which I think was a way of isolating her.
Right.
He found out it's like, oh, she can like
She
create
can
a whole
still
social
create her
identity
own-
out of this.
Yeah, world.
And then it's like, I can't control that.
Well, right.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example because they're doing this van life thing, which, he used to, like you said, part of his control of her. But yeah, she wanted to like show everyone what she was doing. She wanted to be
Yeah.
normal, branch out, whatever. And he didn't like that,
Right.
And it was
Yeah.
all over. He was losing control, just like in so many crimes I've investigated and you see on TV every day. And that is the most dangerous time is when someone feels like they're about ready to get dumped, invalidated,
right.
and you react in a way. I mean,
It's a well-known inciting incident for like a first-time serial killer, how they get started. Usually they lose their job, they break up with their, significant other. It's
Yeah.
there's always an inciting incident. It doesn't just be like, you know what? I think I'm going to become a horrible serial killer now.
Right.
Like I've been fantasizing for years. Today's the day,
right.
There
There
It's
has
not how
to
it
be
happens.
something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us allegedly what you think happened
Oh yeah.
on Christmas night to JonBenet?
allegedly, huh?
I have seen some of your videos and then some of your Substack. Like the most recent thing was the robe fibers that were, or possibly there are
Yeah,
fibers on JonBenet that could
Mhm.
match John's robe.
Okay.
Then you had another video about the practice note and how John left it out on purpose.
Right.
And I think what I took away from that was him pointing the finger at Patsy. So then I thought you thought John did it. But earlier you said, did Burke or Patsy do it? And so now I'm like,
no, I don't think John killed JonBenet,
really?
Mhm.
Okay.
but I also don't think that he pointed to Patsy writing the note by purposely handing it over to police that morning.
Okay.
That wasn't to point a finger at Patsy. Although at the end of the day, one must, self-preserve themselves
Right.
again, so it wasn't going to hurt. But I don't think that was the motivation at all. I think that if you go back and think about human beings and what you are doing in this moment, what's your biggest sort of fear? It's the middle of the night.
Mhm.
Your daughter is found. You find your daughter in the condition that she was found in, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
dead, strangled, or perhaps
Unconscious.
perhaps one of them did it to her, like meaning like one, John or Patsy killed her. Like either way, either they found her, whatever. But this is the scenario. This is a situation. You have your dead daughter in your house around midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. Like you can't call the police. that's another thing I see online. Why wouldn't they call the ambulance? Well, that answers your own question. Why wouldn't they call an ambulance?
Yeah.
Because obviously they couldn't.
Yeah.
When I believe, that they found her. But you know what I'm saying? And you can't just call the police either and go, oh, hey, while we were sleeping, like someone came in and killed my daughter the way that she was found, strangled or whatever. You're going to jail straight away.
Right.
Like, what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that. So what do you need? You need some sort of diversion, misdirection. So I think that, as I wrote in my Substack and, in a video I made about, if you're them, John and Patsy, in the middle of the night and you're desperate, this is all about self-preservation and survival now. Your life is on the line here. How are you going to win or survive this situation? And first of all, you can't go. It's Christmas night in Boulder, 96. You can't go out and buy stationery or paper or new pens because everything's closed. And besides, you just can't leave. There's snow, there's tracks. You might be seen on CCTV or the person that might sell you this notepad or pens at 1 o'clock in the morning are going to know.
Yeah.
Hey, that person came in and bought, pens from me at 1 o'clock in the morning. So they were faced with the realization of we have to write a ransom note ourselves. Not only a ransom note, but a fake ransom note. And in our own handwriting, on our own paper, with our own pen, which, and one of the taglines from that video is, what kidnapper would arrive at the scene of the crime without a ransom note already written? Because like we were talking about earlier, when the money, when you decide to do this is a big deal. You're going to craft that note beforehand, days, maybe weeks before. You're going to craft it or do it or whatever. It's going to be short or whatever, but it's going
to be, John, give me $118,000 and you'll get your daughter back. Full stop. I mean, why would you?
$1 million.
Or what? Yeah. Whatever.
It's going to be a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, like, the stakes are really high, and I figured out how to do this so that you have to do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
Well, right. You're not going to, because this is the really the stickler, right, for you getting the money. Like, if this is your biggest goal, that you have to have a note, right?
Yes.
You can't go break into the house and then go, okay, hey, coast is clear now.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to write a note.
Yeah, okay? You know what? I got to get to that note. I should have done it before.
We can tell you what's in it.
Yeah.
I'm sure we both know it.
Here's what I wanted to say. And I'm once again, I have to say, allegedly not a doctor. I do think Patsy could have had some maybe histrionic features to her personality, because this whole narrative is so
theatrical,
fucking cockeyed and theatrical. It's like, I feel like it came from Patsy. She's like, I know, it's such a weird, huge, you're throwing a lot out there.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you were given an assignment, both of you, right? You were given the assignment to draw something. I want you to draw something for me.
Okay.
And then I give the same to you, right?
Yeah.
That's all, that's all the instructions I give to you, right? Would you be able to tell afterwards, after you're done, like, whose is whose? I mean, obviously you guys would, right? But could you figure out, could I figure out, hey, you drew this and it was you that drew this? Because this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to find something to write on.
Yeah.
You're going to use your own notebook? No. But I mean, well, just to do this assignment, you are.
Yeah.
Or you might grab construction paper or anything, wherever. You are going to make a different choice, whatever's available. Or, hey, I have this pretty stationery I like to use, da-da-da. The pen or the markers or paint or the crayon. You're all going to make different decisions on what you're going to use. And then plus, what are you going to draw?
Yeah.
Right. You're going to decide what you want to draw, and you're going to decide what you're going to draw. And the thing is if I study her, right, and her history and her suspectology, and the same for you, I got historical writings from you, and I saw your childhood drawings and what you like, and I really know you guys. I learned about you guys. I will easily be able to tell whose is whose, and it's the same thing when, like you're talking about with the note, yes, Patsy is all over the note. It
Yeah.
is her personality.
Uh-huh.
The staging of all crimes mirrors back into the personality, cognition,
Mm-hmm.
behavior of the person,
Yeah.
who staged
Doing
the
it.
crime. Like
Yeah.
it's you leave your signature
Yeah.
right there, and all you have to do is look. And of course, like you were saying, the note is all Patsy Pageantry.
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, she doesn't even have to be histrionic. She loves theater.
Right.
Obviously with what, she and her daughter did with the pageants. Exactly.
Right, because she
Yeah.
spent her whole life performing,
Uh-huh.
Showing off.
showing off,
Yeah.
making everything perfect, creating an image of something that wasn't.
Yeah,
you
which
know?
is, it's funny. She's like, I feel like she did have that perfect housewife image or wife and mother image. And but that documentary we saw, this house is a mess, like,
Well,
so
right.
it was very interesting to get inside that
Oh,
house and be
I
like,
think-
this is
Yeah.
very different than what I thought
think
they were.
that
Yeah.
demonstrates something.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
At least a disorganized family and mind. I don't know. I don't want to get too deep
Well,
into it.
But you think about
yeah.
it at Christmas time, though. Patsy had it all dressed up, covered, just like her pageants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put on your makeup, you put on your prettiest dress.
Mm-hmm.
You become someone that you're not really.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're projecting an image and a presentation. You learn how to speak properly and how to smooth people over with your personality and thoughts. And her house, a Christmas tree
In every room.
every single room,
I did not know that is
and everyone was
very
different.
interesting.
Everyone was
Yeah.
decorated in a different theme, and all the other stuff in the candy canes along the walkway and the Santa Claus on top. Patsy was Christmas, and this is what mirrors that.
The note.
The ransom note.
Oh yeah.
That's why
yeah.
it's 3 pages long.
It is a Christmas tree
Okay.
in every room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The ransom note mirrors Patsy's personality. It had, because why isn't it just a short, because Patsy had to try to convince and perform. And that's why she needed 3 pages, 2.5 pages to do so.
Yep.
That's why it's that.
And that's what I do remember she makes like the movie, kind of the things that have been tracked down to like movie references. So it really, it's all about performance.
Well,
it's all about surface.
It's interesting you bring that up because the movie references, I believe, came from John.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
With my study of,
So they did work together on this.
I believe so. That's what the evidence that I found in my investigation.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see where John's like, okay, you're Patsy. You're going to have to go write a note.
Uh-huh.
Just put something in there that's like, we have your daughter.
Yeah.
If you do this, I forget what the movie references are.
Yeah. Ransom. Ransom and,
Don't grow
Speed,
a brain.
right,
Don't grow
speed.
a brain.
Yeah.
Speed.
there's ransom ones. There's
And she overachieved.
So it makes sense that
Yeah.
he's like, stuff I've seen.
Yeah.
Put that in there.
Well,
Okay,
but
yeah.
that's the
And
thing.
I'm
Oh,
gonna go take a nap.
I'm going to have plausible deniability.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Well, essentially, by
Yeah.
having Patsy write the note, that's what, he created that plausible deniability, but you have to peel the facade back.
Mhm.
Okay. John, why do you think John Ramsey, 30 years later, he's not at this
That
crime
he's
con?
being so public because he wasn't for a while.
Well, he
Is
always,
that where you're going or no?
not exactly. He always has been behind the scenes. There's one thing that you have to learn about John Ramsey and his behavioral profile. He is controlling. He has to be in control of everything.
Mhm.
And it's been like that, I believe, from moment zero.
Yeah.
He is the one that had the most to lose in the family.
Right.
His image, his pride. He came from a military family.
Yeah.
With his dad, was a World War II pilot, and was a czar for the airline industry. Was the president, I believe, of an airport aeronautical association. I forgot exactly what it was, but he came from a very prideful family, and he went in the Navy himself, became a pilot, and this happening, this is why I think everything carves back to the personality, and it mirrors back to the crime as well, and why people do things. In the middle of the night, he has the most to lose.
Yes.
His wealth that has accumulated.
That's the thing that comes. Money fucks people up. Like the prospect of losing wealth, I think, is like one of the biggest motivators for people. But and reputation and pride, but like that's tied in to the idea of themselves as like successful and wonderful, is that they have money.
Well, and his company, I think, was bought by Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right. And your image, your position.
Yeah.
You're going to lose all of that if the truth is known about what actually happened inside my house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to lose all that. You're going to lose your reputation, your money, your wealth. And that's why, real quick tangent, is he called his banker numerous times that morning, not to arrange the ransom amount, which, I mean, I'm not going to say that he didn't ask for that.
Right.
But he was on his...
Was he moving stuff around?
That's what I think. And protecting himself, protecting his wealth. Hey, do this for me, move it
Get
over
this in
here.
a Swiss bank account, whatever. Yeah.
Right. And because think about it, your daughter's kidnapped. Why would you need to be on the phone multiple times to your banker?
Yeah.
That morning. I mean, it just, he has I can just almost see it. And so as I was getting to 30 years later, the reason why John in next month is doing a 4-city tour in the Midwest and to tell his story is so that he can control the story that he's still doing 30 years later. Now think about this. If Patsy did it or, Burke did it, why would John Ramsey, because most people think, here's the kind of irony of all that. Most people believe, and from my perspective, that it was either Patsy or maybe Burke, but even if Patsy did it or Burke did it, John didn't know till later, and then he's just trying to protect his family. But the thing is, like, if Patsy did it and she died 20 years ago now, you wouldn't see John Ramsey still like in the news controlling the narrative on all these shows on a seems like weekly basis. I mean, he's 83 years old. Why wouldn't he just ride off into the sunset?
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah, it's like
because of Burke.
Yeah,
because Burke has to keep living.
No, well, but the thing is, it's like, why can't both of them just ride off in the sunset? It's like people think what they think. You're not in any like immediate legal trouble,
right?
So why not just live your life?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Yeah.
Like I said, it mirrors back, to what actually happened. I mean, why would John have the motivation to continue to do, his media tours and what he, is putting out there to the public, which again, isn't really the correct information or evidence on the case. There's always something wrong about it or different, or citing old evidence or old news.
Quick pivot. What did Judith and James Kolar say to him? Do you know? When they got their books signed.
Mr. Kolar, James Kolar, he's the nicest guy. He's actually been in law enforcement for over 50 years now. He has a long career. The thing is that when he was, this case has affected him just like anybody who's lived it, where it's, or investigated it, where you think about it every single day. And the thing is when he was the investigator for Mary Lacey in the district attorney's office, from 2004 to 2005, I think, he was the man in charge of the case, meaning, he had access to the case file. He decided to do his own investigation and everything. But the thing is that as his turn as an investigator, he never got the chance to ever interview or meet John Ramsey. And it seemed like every single time like there was a time where Mary Lacey, invited the Ramsey family in for tea or a conversation in her office one day, right?
Yeah.
And now this is the case is only 10 years old. The Ramseys are still suspects, or they haven't, you know what I'm saying? Like the crime isn't solved yet, and here you are having tea and brunch in your office, talk about the case. And hey, I'm not going to let my investigator know that the Ramseys are here.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and a bit kind of like bypassing, Kohler and like not allowing him, because Mary Lacey knew at this point what Kohler's theory was and where he was going with it.
Right.
It was, that the family was involved somehow. So it's kind of like kept a secret from Kohler, brought you in, and you know what I'm saying? So he never had the chance to talk to John Ramsey, like ever. The father of the girl that he's investigated, case that he's investigated for, 25 years or whatever. And so he wanted the opportunity to speak to the man himself and look him in the eye. And one thing I can tell you, what he said to John was, he told John that, he gave his condolences and said that he was sorry and for what happened. And, told him that, I feel for you because I've had tragedies happen in my family. And, I'm incredibly sorry that you lost your daughter this way. And, I think that's all I can really say, what I know about what occurred. So it was just respectful. I mean, he didn't, he asked him a few questions about the DNA evidence because, for the longest time, you hear it in the news all the time. Everyone wants to talk about just this one minuscule
unidentified male DNA.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though there's 6 or 7 other DNA profiles in this case that are on, like the ligature, and other areas. I can't really think of them right now. On the nightgown and on the long johns, and stuff like that. So nobody wants to talk about that.
Don't look over here.
No, right. It's just in the speck of blood.
Yeah.
In the underwear, which wasn't even hers actually.
Yeah.
It was a new pair. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's weird, number one. But it just happens to be, that UM1 profile wasn't anywhere else on that, on the underwear. Like how is it just, I mean, that in itself is kind of odd to me, but everyone wants to talk about that because, it's underwear.
Also just the media power of saying in the JonBenet case, unidentified male DNA has been found. It's pure misdirection.
In her underwear.
In her underwear.
Right,
it's pure misdirection. Yeah, I think.
Right. And so he asked her, that's what he asked her, like, well, what about the other, profiles?
Oh, okay.
And I don't know what John just gave a regular, the DNA advances, blah, 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 blah. But that's the thing that you don't hear about. I mean, think about it. John Ramsey should be talking about all those because they could lead to the kill of his daughter. So why isn't he bringing up all these other ones? The thing about those that not a lot of, lay people know, or people who follow true crime, is that in every single case that I've ever investigated or know about or have studied, there are these sort of random, incomplete DNA profiles like found everywhere.
Okay.
Like on doorknobs and, furniture and even the beds or clothing or whatever. Just these like, they only have like a, random loci or, you know what I'm saying? Like incomplete profiles.
Yeah.
Because we're human beings. We live in this world. We leave our DNA.
It's like touch DNA. It's throwing it everywhere. Yeah.
Well, right.
Right. And then it degraded. It didn't stick around. Just a little bit of it did.
Yeah.
Well, right. And that they can never, and in all those cases, it's just considered part of the job. It's kind of like partial fingerprints or it's just random kind of stuff that doesn't really have any sort of meaning to the crime or relevance to the crime. But in this case, just because it's a JonBenet Ramsey case and it's been talked about and elevated or whatever, like all those things matter. Like all those little, that wouldn't matter in any other case.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but now, hey, you know what I'm saying? To me, it's ridiculous. I mean, this isn't a DNA case. It's a circumstantial evidence case.
Yeah.
Because even if even if there was DNA found, and I'm not talking about seminal fluid type DNA, but I'm talking about any sort of other DNA that was found on the murder weapon or clothing that was the family's, it wouldn't matter because it would not be point to the guilt of the Ramseys because, Patsy put her to bed. John touched her clothing. You know what I'm saying?
She's
Like,
a
so
little kid.
their DNA should be on. Their DNA should be, which is a little suspicious that it's not. Because why isn't it? I mean, was it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, why isn't no Ramsey DNA on JonBenet?
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Which is actually more mysterious because it's like they're in the house, lousy with their DNA. It's impossible.
Well,
Why no fingerprints on the note? Like all that stuff.
Well, exactly. That's, it's interesting bringing it up because that was another part of my video. That was years in the making of me studying the case and every aspect of it and putting myself into the scene. Why, if you think about it, why aren't there fingerprints on the ransom note? Because naturally, right?
Yeah.
There should be. Because if this is a legit situation, right?
Where you find a note, and you need to look at it.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Like after the fact, he would have even nothing to do with it. He would have picked it up and looked at it and been like, "Shit." Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And you wouldn't worry that they would be because you only care about getting your daughter back.
For this thing from your mind,
right? In a legit scenario, and not only that, so no fingerprints on the note. The note was also found in pristine condition.
Yeah.
No creases, folds, impressions, tears. Like tears or sort of like any sort of emotional wear on the note whatsoever. Think about it. Your daughter's been kidnapped and someone has left a note. That is the only way to get her back. That's the only piece of evidence that you have to get her back. That's all your hope is in that note. So you are never going to leave that note alone. You are going to be looking over, especially the CEO, John Ramsey. He is going to be scouring that thing, which incredibly, if you look at the behavior, he wouldn't look at the note when asked about the note. He didn't have anything much to say, very little to say about the note.
Actually, I think he still says he never read it. Like he'll still say, I don't even know what's in that note.
It's interesting for such a controlling man.
Well,
to not.
Well, exactly. Because if that was my daughter, you couldn't take that note away from me because I need to investigate. I need to know, especially, the movie quotes, just everything in it. Like you're an analytical CEO. That's the way you make your money is making decisions. And analyzing information. So why aren't you doing the same with this note? And so it's in pristine condition. And when Officer French arrives, they don't have the note in hand.
No, it's just still sitting on the stairs, right?
No, it's actually on the floor near the phone in the hallway. But if you think about this behaviorally, if the police come, the police are now your best hope. Here's help. I need my daughter back. You're going to be shoving the note in his face, in his hands. Look, help. Look, da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? But what do? They invite him in and they escort him and point to it on the floor. They pointed. There it is, right there on the floor.
You don't. Okay. You don't, no. I'm not defending anyone, but you don't think it's like they maybe like as wealthy, educated people that they had a little bit of a. Well, no, because they disturbed a crime scene over and over again. Never mind. Stupid question.
Yeah, you were like they were preserving evidence.
I was like, maybe they were just preserving evidence. I was like, no, they absolutely were not. Okay.
Well, and and that's the thing. I mean, you're thinking about that reverse psychology of it or whatever. But but if you think about this, if this is a legit scenario, you wouldn't be worried about that.
Yeah.
Because you would have nothing to hide. You wouldn't be worried if your fingerprints are on the note. So
you're not thinking everybody's going to think you're guilty if you're dealing with this trauma.
Because you're not guilty. You know you're not guilty with 100% because, somebody came in and did this. I mean, so you're not going to be thinking about those things.
Yeah.
Or caring about those things. Just like when Darlie Routier called 911 that morning, she told him, and then she's on phone with the 911 operator. She says, I touched the knife. I may have touched the knife. So if there's fingerprints on it, something to that effect.
Yeah.
right?
Real
Why is she
elegant,
worried?
Charlie.
Why is she worried about that when her kids are on the floor dying and she's been
Yeah.
stabbed? And she wants to tell the operator about, hey, if there's
Yeah.
fingerprints on the knife, they're mine because I picked it up. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so she's, exactly. I mean, you wouldn't be someone who is innocent would not be thinking about that or wasting time telling someone about that at that
Yeah.
point in time.
On the 911
You want
call.
them to
Yeah.
come fast to save you and your kids. So, so when you look at it, okay, and then what sealed the deal for me is when you look at their interviews, right? And afterwards, so you see people's motivations change, like stories change in the future when their needs change, right? So that morning, they needed the note found with not their prints on it.
Yeah.
And so they left it, in my opinion, left it pristine, didn't put their prints on it. But later on, when someone like us is going, well, how come their fingerprints aren't on it? Here comes the Ramsey interviews.
Yeah. Okay.
And so Patsy gives, hey, tell me what happened that morning. Oh, I came down the stairs, spiral staircase. I noticed 3 pieces of paper spread out on, one of the rungs of stairs. Instead of picking up the note like 100% people would.
I can't imagine not.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I
like,
stepped
period. That's
over
normal.
it.
I
Yeah.
stepped over the stair.
Like, which one of you kids left this fucking paper here? I mean, that's a mom. Yeah.
Well, right. Especially if you see a bunch of writing on it,
Yeah.
you're going to pick it up. I mean, that's natural, normal human behavior 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she steps over it, does an about face, turns around, bends over at the waist, looks down, and just reads a couple lines that says, we have your daughter. And at that point...
Did she really say, I just bent over, I didn't pick it up?
Yes.
I needed core work. What are you doing?
Well, exactly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. And then even if you decided, okay, you're still asleep, okay, and you stepped over the note and turned around, once you saw that it said, we have your daughter,
Yeah.
you're going to
Read
really
it.
pick
Grab
it
it.
up. You're going to really pick it
Yeah.
up and bring it to John, or you're going to actually read it exactly. But she says, her story is, I bounded up the stairs to go check on JonBenet without touching the note.
Yeah.
And so she's giving an automatic explanation of why her prints are on the note. And John tells a similar story where I read it spread out on the floor by the phone, so I didn't have to touch it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, they both say, like, oh, well, I think Patsy handed me the note on the second stereo. I mean, everything always changes. Their stories always change.
Yeah.
But, that's when you look at the visible evidence, the visible staging, in my opinion, that's what that is supposed to, mean. It gives them an explanation to the police why their fingerprints aren't on the note. And so, obviously, in my belief, the evidence says that's what they planned because, now, could they get away with, the fingerprints been on the note?
Yeah.
Sure. But here's the thing. If you have a guilty conscience about it, right, behaviorally and stuff, and this note, you're really worried about this note because it looks like it's Patsy's writing and stuff, you can't afford to have your fingerprints on that note.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can't give them extra evidence or what that, because if they find my fingerprints on this note and with my kind of handwriting, obviously they're going to say I wrote it. So you see how, it mirrors back, the evidence mirrors back to what the motivations were that morning.
Yeah.
It's just, it's all right there.
Yeah. And also just like because one thing I do want to ask you, do you think because of all of the like constant media commentary, internet commentary, the fascination with this case, like I remember I was part of a true crime Reddit sub where they actually had to ban discussions about JonBenet because
it made people fight.
Well, it made people fight, but also every thread about completely unrelated cases would devolve into a huge discussion and argument about JonBenet, where they're doing this very granular sort of examination of evidence and like different ideas. It's like, this was found. No, this was found, or this was the reason. And does that over-examination make it even more difficult to deal with this case?
No.
Okay.
Not the over-examination part of it.
Yeah.
The misinformation part.
The misinformation and disinformation of that information and examination of that information is the problem.
As if it's real. And so there's constant contradiction as to who said what, when, and what happened.
Exactly. And this is something else I've written about.
Yeah.
And it is, John Ramsey and Team Ramsey in charge from moment zero. It goes back to it. Since the beginning of this case, there has been a steady flow of alternative facts that have rivaled the real evidence and information in this case. And so that is why you go online and you say people, oh, well, what about this and what about this and this happened or whatever. And it's completely opposite.
Yeah.
Think about it. You can name any piece of evidence in the Ramsey case and you give two arguments for it because some people are going to, cite this or cite that. And you got to realize that for 30 years, there's been this misinformation campaign that has gone on from day one.
Well, and the resulting speculation chains based on false information in the first place. Yeah.
Like a stun gun.
Yeah.
Like the Ramseys would never stun their own child. Yeah, there was no stun gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and guess who introduced that into the case?
Lou Smith.
Lou Smith and Team Ramsey.
Okay.
I saw it in the newspaper.
Based on the marks on her neck.
It's her face and her back.
Got it. Okay,
right. So this isn't the power that the Ramseys had, having these lawyers and having the media crazy and the availability of it, they could just put out stuff that they wanted. So in the newspaper, they said Ramsey investigators believe a stun gun, and so all of a sudden that enters into the narrative now because, people don't, and then, the speculation about it. And that's how that gets involved. The stun gun is funny how, they quote that as, like you were saying, the behavioral aspects. Oh, the Ramseys wouldn't stun gun their daughter, so that rules them out 100%.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at the other behavioral aspects. You're a criminal, like we were talking about. In the middle of the night, you're scared, you're sweaty, you got to get stun. Number one, why would you have to use a stun gun on a 6-year-old child? Because it's not needed. Plus, aren't you going to be worried that the noise is going to wake the family up and you're fucked? You got to get out of that.
Yeah.
You're ruining your motivation or whatever. You're going to be scared. You're not going to use a stun gun. Number one, it's not needed. You could just put your hand over their mouth.
Good old fashioned chloroform.
Exactly, right?
Sorry, I know that's dark.
Some other thing that you're not going to take that risky behavior of a stun. Think about you're in the middle of the house in the middle of the night and you set off a stun gun. You're going to be so afraid that it was heard by somebody that someone's going to come and discover you. It's completely ridiculous, but it entered the narrative. And not only that, the stun gun, the air taser, I believe, the inventor of it or whatever, I forgot exactly what it was, but he even said that no, they do not match, and that stun gun does not leave those marks. And not only that, they don't match. Like the length, no, it's close. But still to this day, you have people saying, oh, stun gun, even though it does not behaviorally make sense, it doesn't match. Forensically, it doesn't match. So it's absolutely ridiculous. But that's just one piece. There's 100 other things that you could bring up with the exact same.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not as knowledgeable as you two about this case, and part of what just makes me not want to deal with it is because I'm like, I don't know what's
true.
I feel like it's probably a pretty simple case that has been obfuscated by our two very sophisticated media actors in John and Pat's. She was a journalist, right? Or she trained as a journalist. So she knows how to.
Oh yeah,
yeah, she knows how to throw shit out there.
A simple case.
Yeah.
And they had PR people.
Oh yeah,
and lawyers, and they worked together.
Yeah.
So.
And that's why in this true crime, we're at CrimeCon right now, and all these people are interested in all these cases and crimes, and it fascinates them. And so, like JonBenet Ramsey case, and you're going to see a lot more of this coming up. Like I said, the eerie quiet is right now, but in a couple of months, the lead up where, but people go, I'm going to research this case. Like they've done other cases. So they think it's the same thing, right? They think it's the same animal. So I'm going to Google the JonBenet Ramsey case. And what comes up 90% of the time?
Stuff John said.
Right. The misinformation, the disinformation stuff. And then that's what they take in, and they don't understand this case. This is not a case. You have to understand the history of the case, what happened, what occurred, what was said, when, what. It's so deep. Unless you spent at least 5 years studying the case, you really don't begin to really have like a sort of overall comprehension of, you know, the case. And this is not a case where you can just, you know, look it up and then study it for a month or two or even a year.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, yeah, I mean, I know what I'm talking about. I mean, it really is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
After the Serial podcast, I did get into true crime. I watched The Staircase, and then one night I said, I'm going to research JonBenet again. And everything I found was Lou Smith on the Today Show, given all his theories of an intruder. And I was like, that's crazy. Why did we think the family did it? And then I saw James Kollar's book. I don't know how I discovered it, but I read that. And then I was like, oh my God. I almost fell for it, you know? Like if I had stopped.
Well, I did want to say one thing that's sort of related, because I think I stopped at the Lou Smith stuff and I was like, yep, he's got it. Boom.
Yep.
And also, I will say this, just in my very brief meeting with John Ramsey to get my picture taken with him.
Yeah.
I've got to say, he looks you dead in the eye. He's got like a soft smile. He's very gentlemanly, old-fashioned.
I liked him.
He's very likable. And I could totally see him like, you know, he could, as they say, sell snow to an Inuit.
Wow.
You know?
that's why he has everybody, in my opinion, everyone smoothed over.
Yeah.
I mean, he has that, you know, lovely grandpa personality now. But even before he was this age, I mean, he's always had that sort of demeanor in public.
That's what I was wondering.
You
I'm
know?
like, is this just a product of his age that he's so like kind of soft and sweet?
No, I think he was always in charge of something and had to be a figurehead.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Yeah.
If you study, like I said, if you study him long enough, and like I said, you have to really know get into it, because otherwise you just don't see it or whatever. But there are some cases in public interviews and stuff where you see John's, you can see it switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Where he gets angry.
Yeah.
Fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not like a huge outpouring of like anger. Well, at least not like how it presents itself, but you can see it in his
like
face,
a
his
micro
eyes.
expression
And
when he gets a question, and then he goes back to his media training before he answers.
Yeah.
or he'll kind of switch and start, you know, you can tell he gets angry and frustrated.
You can see the flashing in the eyes with people who like have a mask of like being very calm. It's like, but you can see flashes in their eyes when they have to deal with something they do not like.
Right.
You really can.
Right.
It's like a micro expression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course. And,
yeah.
You really have to really dig into, you know, like I said, you know, think about it. This is why for the longest time people thought, you know, like Patsy wore the pants in the family.
Oh,
not even close.
Yeah.
She was her own personality, and she was
sure.
Powerful in her own right, but John was in control of that family. Always has been control. Whatever he's done, wherever he's gone, he has always been in control. That is his personality. Now, it's not a type A sort of outwardly like in charge. He operates more kind of like behind the scenes, in the shadows, in charge. I mean, you know, do I think John Ramsey's a bad guy? No, not really. But but I mean, think about what it's really become. You know, a lot of people also say, well, if Burke did it or whatever, then you know, he's just doing what any father or other family. You know, he's trying to protect his family, and he's trying to protect his son and not lose his son as well. Now that's all, you know, sounds all Hollywood, nice story, right?
Yeah.
And if Burke did do it, that may have been sort of the motive.
Yeah.
And it sounds good, but it wasn't the main motive, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was self-preservation. You know,
right.
They couldn't lose what they had.
Okay.
They had, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they had to protect themselves. And yeah, like I was saying, like the whole, you know, protect my family thing. But think about this now, 30 years later, right? And John Andrew too now, this isn't really about what happened to my daughter, you know, or JonBenet.
Nope. It's about what happened to him.
Well, right, but also what gives someone that they think they have a license to do this now is because they're angry and mad at the public and the people who say that, we were still involved or whatever. So now it's all about I'm protecting my family and I'm protecting the future of my grandkids.
Yeah.
Because, whatever decision I made, I did it for my family.
Uh-huh.
So, that's what, they can say or whatever. So, hey, now you're now trying to destroy my family. So that's what it's about now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
The irony being, it's like, doesn't your daughter deserve the truth?
Exactly.
It's like, ugh, anyway.
So do you think Burke did it? And do you think he made the garrote?
I'm going to let you get into this.
Well, first of all, there's no such thing as a garrote.
Right.
In this case, okay? It is a broken piece of wood paintbrush. Like in any other case, you hear it in the newspapers early on and on the news, whatever. It was a broken wooden stick with a piece of camping cord tied around it.
Yeah.
A slip knot. That's what it is, period.
Yeah.
A piece of wood with some camping cord around it. But once it becomes a psycho-sadistic garrote.
Yeah. It paints a picture of a
completely different.
And that shit catches fire. It really does on the internet.
Like, but do you think Burke made that?
I don't think that he didn't make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at the history of Burke Ramsey at almost 10 years old, and this is really, you have to get, this is what I'm talking about, knowing the case, right? Is his grandfather, John Ramsey's dad, was the great Eagle Scout, always into the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
So much so, I found an article in the newspaper that he took somebody up in an airplane because he could, right? That's what he did to sort of like give a Boy Scout award to a Boy Scout, like on the airplane.
Oh, yeah.
John Ramsey, his son, was an Eagle Scout and was good with his hands and, knew about knots, was in the Navy, had his own sailboat, numerous boats. John Ramsey was good with his hands. He was good with his knots. He knew all that stuff. And that he passed that down to John Andrew, his first son.
Yeah.
And Melinda Ramsey as well. They were both Eagle Scouts as well. I think it's called something else on the girls' side. Right.
Yeah.
But people who really knew their shit.
Yeah.
Okay. And to where you got a badge for knots.
Yeah.
You got an award for knots, knowing knots, these complicated knots. Burke Ramsey followed his footsteps of his whole family, just like all families do.
Yeah.
Airplanes, everything airplane. Look at Burke's room, the wallpaper. He had books on, airplanes, knots. Burke Ramsey a year before won the best summer camper award.
Okay.
Where like stuff like making tents, like putting up tents and
building
with knots,
fires,
right? The scouting. I forgot exactly what it was called, right?
Yeah,
right. But he won, so he was the best one.
Yeah, exactly. At 9 years old, right?
Right.
So he had the intricate knowledge at that point in time, and 3 weeks before the murder, 3 weeks now, right after Thanksgiving weekend on that Monday, December 2nd, Linda Hoffman Pugh, the housekeeper, who just passed last week, or
rest in peace.
Yes. She took, when she arrived, there was wooden stick shavings.
Yeah. Oh.
Or from whittling sticks. Which, sort of child who was into his Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts.
Oh, it's a very Boy Scouty thing.
Yes, whittling wood all over the house.
Yeah.
And not picking up the shavings.
Yeah.
What's at the crime scene? Little shavings right in by the paint tray and in the paint tray and right by JonBenet where she died.
Okay.
With the wooden stick. So 3 weeks before, Linda Hoffman Pugh took away Burke's knife and hid it because she was tired of picking up all these from Burke not listening.
Yeah.
And shaving broken wooden sticks everywhere, including the basement where he played all the time. So let me ask you a question. Just pretend you didn't know anything about. Okay, no, before JonBenet's murder, before JonBenet was murdered, if you went down to the Ramsey basement, right, on Christmas morning, not the day after where she was murdered, but let's say on Christmas morning you went down the Ramsey basement and it's frozen in time, right? If there is a broken wooden stick with camping cord around it found, right, just randomly with shavings on the floor, shavings on the floor in a broken window in Burke's train room, who would you think was responsible
for all that stuff?
For all the stuff.
Burke.
This is new to me in terms of like that was sort of a Burke central area.
Yeah, he had a train. He had a.
I mean, I knew he had a train. I just didn't
think
know
it was
that
huge.
Yeah, I just didn't know that area was like essentially seems to be like his playroom.
Well, especially for someone who is, I believe, neurodivergent in some way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He, and so where would someone, want his own space to play and kind of alone and investigate and have your own area. And stuff. Like you said, if you saw that evidence right there, or it's not evidence, but that stuff, you would think that Burke Ramsey not only left that stuff there, I mean, his mom and dad would, right? Because they know Burke's personality. Linda Hoffman Pugh would.
Yep.
They would come down to the basement and they're like, Burke, get down here, and pick this up. Or hey, that Burke did that, right? Because that's what he did.
Right.
Now, when you go into the basement window, it's a whole different thing. If you saw it broken in Burke's train room, what 10-year-old boy hasn't, broken a window playing baseball or something in his lifetime?
Or even just in like a childhood fit of rage. They didn't get to do something and they're just like, I'm going to throw a baseball bat at that window. Well, I have a lot of cousins. They used to do a lot of shit.
It's interesting that you bring up a childhood fit of rage.
Oh, isn't it though? I did have one question. Well, actually, I wanted to say something, and I just want to make sure that like this sort of comports to the facts of the case. It's interesting to me now to know that this is sort of Burke's area, and that's where she was found.
Yeah.
But I do know also there's speculation that John put the body down there in order to find, quote unquote, later. But I think it's interesting that if Burke did it, that he would bring the body of his sister down to like his safe place.
Or that's where it happened.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry. I don't know. I was trying to make a psychological argument, but
well, a lot of people think or just say on the Reddit board that the rope around the neck was to help move the body.
Oh, got it.
For like a young boy who,
didn't have the heft.
Trained with like how to build stuff to like help you move logs.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely disorganized. It's definitely erratic and disorganized and not kind of logical, right? I mean, and why did it happen 45 minutes to, an hour to 2 hours after the blow to the head, right? I mean, there seems to be some psychological, pre-adolescent sort of involvement and, a stick with camping cord and shavings. And the pocket knife was found at the scene too, which had been hidden 3 weeks prior. So how did that get down there? Who was down there with it? I mean, it all is, that's the thing. And a lot of people who don't know the case, hey, there's a 9-year-old, how's a 9-year-old, make a garrote? Well, when you look at what it really is, right?
And who that 9-year-old is.
Exactly. The suspectology and the personality of the person involved, if he did it, I mean, it just kind of, what changing up a little bit. I want to talk about this before we go. The suspectology and like how it mirrors back in the personality, right? If John or Patsy Ramsey found JonBenet in the middle of the night in the way that she was deceased, and they knew that it was too late to get any sort of help, and what do they got to do? Okay. Now we know that the basement window was broken, right? Now I've seen this in so many other cases ever, right? When people are trying to stage like a murder, or a break-in, they'll break the window themselves and they stage the scene with the window, creating like that's how someone came into my house and did something, right? But in this case, John goes down there. This is official because this is what he said in his interviews or whatever. Saw that it was broken or whatever, was like, nah, I did that. No, he was like, nah, I didn't think anything of it. The suitcase was kind of weird.
Dad had found one of his windows broken of a morning, he would have had a fucking fit.
Especially if your daughter's missing, right?
Yes.
So here's the thing. Your daughter's missing. The police are here. You go down there and you notice that it's open, but, and broken, right?
Yeah.
Even if you had done it before, like he came up with later and said that he did, right?
Yeah.
You're still going to jump up and down and go get the police.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be like, oh my God, this is where they came in.
This is an access point.
But
exactly.
he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He keeps it quiet, right? He never tells the police about the window.
Yeah.
Now, also, okay, John is asked by 5 or 6 police officers that morning in these interviews, and it's all in the reports. When they first, John, did you lock the house last night and check all the doors and windows?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
He says it to 5 or 6 different people at different times, and it's all in there. Yes, I secured the doors that night or whatever. Now think about this. You think, just like the window, if we're trying to get away with this, right? And why don't I say, why doesn't John say that I didn't really check, right?
Yeah.
Or say, hey, look, hey, look, this door's open,
Yeah.
or whatever. Think about the reason why you can't do that, because it would help. It would seem to help
It makes
your
you look
position.
less guilty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now think about a reason why you couldn't tell the police that, because that's what you really, and you didn't tell the police about the window in the basement.
Yeah.
Why? So think about those two things. Why wouldn't you tell the police about the open window breaking in the basement at the same time be telling the police that I checked all the doors and windows and they were locked and secured that night?
Yeah.
What would be the reason?
I don't know. I'm so
I don't know
lost.
either, actually.
It's the psychology of it. And these are your 2 children, right? And this happened in the middle of the night. You can't just give it easy, as a parent, right? As Patsy and John, as a parent, you're going to be at this point in time, your needs at the time. You're inside, you're feeling incredibly guilty about what you allowed to happen to your daughter, your son, in the middle of the night while you were home. So what do you have to present to the police and everybody else?
Yeah.
I care for my family.
Because I'm responsible in a loving, caring. And so if they say that, I didn't check them or whatever, then part of the culpability falls on them as looking as guilty parents, because I allowed this to happen to my daughter in the middle of the night by being forgetful and leaving the door windows open. That is why he doesn't take that easy route, and he can. That's in my belief.
That's to make him look better,
and to make the right. This, and then when you look at other evidence to go right along this, John also tells a couple different police officers. Soon, think about his needs at that time. They arrive. He tells them, hey, what'd you do last night? Oh, when we got home, I read a book to JonBenet.
Yep.
I read a story to JonBenet before I put her bed. And later on, 4 months later, after the lawyers, worked with him or whatever, that changed to JonBenet was asleep in the car when we got home, and I brought her upstairs. Last time I ever saw her,
that's what I heard.
Right?
Yeah.
So he changed the story. But if you think about it, we go back to that morning. Why would John have the same thing, to be saying that he read a story to JonBenet that night? Because it all goes back to the same image and responsibility of a good parent doing a good thing, a solid thing. We loved our children.
Yeah.
There's no way that we could possibly be responsible for this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He has his own sense of theater, I think.
He sure does.
Yeah.
And I have empathy for the Ramseys.
Yeah, totally.
I do.
That makes me have more empathy. If this is what happened, it's like, actually, something really terrible happened to you guys.
Yeah.
And you didn't feel like you could come clean about it. And that's why everyone's obsessed with this.
Well, right. And that's why, you see part of the anger from, John still is because he's like, well, hey, I did this for my family. So, lay off.
Yeah.
Kind of like, wouldn't you do the same? But there's one difference. Okay. And I have a problem with if that's what did happen. Is number one, you did it for yourself, really, because you wanted to protect your wealth and your image and stuff, which, like I said, everybody has some sort of level of preservation.
Mhm.
But continuing to defraud the public is what I have a problem with.
Yes.
Because continuing to tell this story, like I said, you could have rolled off into the sunset, never
Yeah.
spoke about it again, and
Mhm.
then kind of let people come to
Let
their
the
own.
plebes speculate. Whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, right. And the fact that he doesn't, like I said,
Yeah.
it mirrors back, in my opinion, to what happened, and it's,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I have empathy, but only kind of like originally what they did afterwards, because, I mean, in my opinion, and this is why you'll never see Burke say anything, even if
Mhm.
he was involved, like
Yeah.
later on after John's dead or whatever, is because he can't, because it is so deep, because this is the part that I have a problem with, the defrauding of the public, but also what he did to the other people who in court cases and civil, litigation and such, right? So you had, Chris Wolf and Linda Hoffman Pugh, they all, and Steve Thomas, they were all sued by the Ramseys.
Of course. Yeah.
And, and so they kind of made a big difference negatively on a lot of other people with what they did in the courts, suing them and this and that and the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
And-
I mean, that's such a
Right.
it's such a rich person's get away from me tactic. It's like, I know it's not going to go to trial, but it's going to cost you a pretty penny, and you know that too.
Do I believe that there's anything, people ask me, or I see things, justice for JonBenet,
Mm-hmm.
if you really think about it, there is no such thing as justice in the JonBenet Ramsey case, because an intruder stranger didn't do it. Okay. So there's not going to be justice on that side.
Yeah.
And even if somebody in the family did it, it wasn't on purpose.
Right.
And so do you really think that JonBenet would that help her out in any way? Like, would that get her justice, especially if it was a brother?
Right.
Like, by the world knowing that, would that give her justice? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, no.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, we're 30 years this year, and it's going to be 40, 50. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to get,
Right.
resolved, even with the
Yeah.
advances in DNA.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Mhm.
Especially with
Yeah.
that. Right. Whoa.
Yeah.
This has been very enlightening.
This has
especially
been
for
great. I
you,
didn't know
right?
all. No, honestly, I really didn't know all this, and I just want to apologize to our listeners for ever defending John Ramsey, because I thought he was a cute old man.
Well, we still think that.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I was just like, he couldn't do it. Look at his face.
You and
And
John
that's-
Douglas.
Yeah. Yep.
You and John
Yeah.
Douglas. Yeah. So you went to the scene of the Tupac shooting yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
What did you learn anything from that, or are you just kind of taking photos for?
Well, I mean, I always like going,
Yeah.
I like historical crime,
Yeah.
and I like going to the scenes and walking the scenes and seeing how the scene has changed over the years, and so to get a sense of what happened, and where and how it occurred. That case also happened in 96, I believe, or 97,
Mm.
Yeah.
and it's still unsolved. It's just, I mean, it's just kind of weird being there, and when you look at the crime scene photos and then seeing the area now, but that's another case that there was preceding conflict beforehand.
Yeah.
Like there was a fight
Mhm.
between like, what
East Coast,
side-
West Coast lore.
Well,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, but there was two different factions
uh-huh.
like fighting, like in the
Yeah.
MGM Grand, like just
Yeah.
15 minutes or half an hour before,
Uh-huh.
Right.
like him getting shot. So obviously that had something to do
Yeah.
with what happened. So it could only really be from that. I mean, somebody's
Mhm.
angry about what happened,
Yeah.
and they go follow, and then pull up,
Uh-huh.
So, I'm not, like I said, I don't know a lot about the case, but to me, it has to be something like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a sort of revenge.
Do you think doing stuff like that then helps you with your job, or it's just kind of a hobby?
What, the crime scene thing?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I investigate, I'm a suspicious death investigator,
Mhm.
specifically focus on, crimes that occur, that there's some sort of suspicion
Mhm.
around it, like
Okay.
suicides, staged suicides, where was it really suicide? or homicide,
Mhm.
you know, and kind of just, you know, that where there's some sort of misdirection involved is
Yeah.
my specialty. But when it comes down to the physical scene, yeah, every crime scene, it helps exponentially
Yeah.
to walk the scene and be at the scene
Yeah.
because it gives you so much more perspective about,
Yeah.
you know, what happened and, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting you should say that. I just remember when I went to the book depository when I was in Dallas, that whole like the museum, and you see it. It's so small
Yes.
and contained. The grassy knoll is right there.
Yes.
The street is literally like going under the book depository. It feels like it's just
Isn't it
straight
crazy?
shot.
Yes,
That's,
Yeah.
you know,
it is.
it's interesting you said that because that's one thing that I first noticed, and I'm really amazed by it every time I go to a crime scene.
Yeah.
When I first went to JonBenet's house, right?
Mhm.
It looks incredibly small.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of like intimately framed,
Mhm.
like in a way that you've never seen it before. Because whenever you look at pictures or whatever, everything kind of looks like spread out and far away, like the depository. And I never investigated that one like that close, like you have. But yeah, isn't it weird? Like probably like how close everything is.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
like you know, it just looks so different from
Your mind automatically like spreads everything out based on pictures you see. I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Pictures just flatten everything.
Yeah, you're right. They
So-
do.
But even, I guess, I don't know how much video there is inside the Ramsey house. It really is more photos, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's part of it. Yeah.
in the video.
Like the crime
makes
scene
me
video,
angry.
that's so bad.
Oh, it makes me angry
Yeah.
every time I try to, because I've watched it a million times trying to investigate and find stuff and look for stuff, and because the quality is so bad,
Yeah.
it really bothers me that.
Yeah.
That's what you'll take screenshots and then be like, see this here? And
Yeah.
I'm like, how did you ever see that?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, and also, I mean, the technology. You know, if body cams existed back then and they were clear like they are today, like great
Right.
photography.
Yeah.
Being able to see the Ramsey behavior inside the house that morning while they were doing the song and dance
Oh yeah.
would have been amazing to see.
Yeah.
You know how like people look at the Chris Watts
I was just thinking the same
body,
thing. Yeah.
and they notice right away that he's worried, he's frustrated, there's something going on suspicious.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been maybe that obvious, but there would have been signs like that you would have
Right.
seen micro expressions
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
on their faces. I mean, I would love to be able to have
Yeah.
that, you know, but
Mhm.
Crime is easier to solve now, would you say, than it was in 1996? I mean, you could just get away with so much more.
well, yeah, I mean, but it still amazes me how not easy it is, though, because yeah, it's mobile phone forensics. Your phone tells on you
Mhm.
in ways that, you know,
Right.
your mom and spouse don't know about,
Right.
or boyfriend and girlfriend know about. It knows you better than yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Your personality is in it. Your loves and your wants and your
Sometimes, like,
vices.
I get ads and I'm like, did you fucking read my mind? Because I did not talk to anybody about
That
this.
too.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
even like cameras everywhere. And then
Yeah.
even your vehicles nowadays,
Yeah.
they record not only everywhere you go, but every time you open your door, every time you close your door, every time you turn on. I mean, so all that data is there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so, like, yeah, you can't get away with anything if you wanted to nowadays, but it's still, with all that kind of technology, it still amazes me how it's still kind of difficult to
Yeah.
convict people,
Mhm.
even with that type of evidence.
Yeah.
You know, like the Karen Reed case.
I was going to
Mhm.
say,
Yeah.
who do you think is guilty there?
Karen Reed.
Yeah, so do we.
Good. Thank
I
you.
mean,
You wouldn't believe the comments we get because I'll be like, Karen Reed did it. And then
We have
I'll
people-
get so many comments of people being like, please watch the trial.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, girl, I'm
No.
not sitting through that trial.
No.
I mean, the Karen Reed thing, I mean,
It's just
it's
silly.
just overwhelmed with anger if you
It-
really speak about it. But if you
Mhm.
look at the evidence of the vehicle evidence and the
Yes.
phone evidence by itself,
Yes.
as soon as she, because like I said, everything's recorded in your vehicle.
Mhm.
As soon as she put it in reverse, made
Yeah.
the decision to put it in reverse, right? This is all legit, right?
Yep.
Pressed on the gas pedal, went 24.5 or something like that
Miles
miles
an
per
hour.
hour
Mhm.
backwards.
Yeah.
And then hit something obviously, and
Yeah.
then put it forward, right? This is all
Uh-huh.
behavior
Yeah.
from that exact moment that happened.
Yeah.
100% happened because that's what's, you know, in the evidence,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
John O'Keefe never takes another step.
Right.
Recorded on his phone. He never opens his phone again.
Right.
His phone only gets colder and colder the whole
Oh, they can tell the
night.
temperature and everything.
Right.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So obviously, this is what the evidence says. I don't care what anybody wants to say about a dog or this or the other. All these
I know.
people. The public have it completely wrong on this. Yes, were the police corrupt and did they fuck up and do this or whatever this? And there was all these kind of other outside things or whatever.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, sure, but you have to look through that as well.
That's
Look
what
at the
angers me
evidence.
too. It really pisses me off. I'm just like, look at what fucking happened and not all the mishigas surrounding it that you're just going to make up stories about.
Something
It's insane to me.
right after she backed up her vehicle.
Yeah.
From that point, all those things just happened.
Yeah.
So that means
She
she
did
hit
it.
a period.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Yeah.
No, we have an episode where we basically say just that.
But we also have online friends who we differ with
Yeah.
significantly about that. And you just don't talk about it.
Yeah, I don't have time for
Yeah.
for that. But it's
Yeah.
crazy to see how misinformation, disinformation, and then it creates this army of people that just end up believing it because because the police messed up or the police are faulty.
Yeah.
Well, sure,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that she didn't do it still.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, there's a conspiracy theory obsession right now.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's very strange how that's really taken off. I mean, maybe it makes total sense. That's the internet for you.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
that being true, absolutely.
Yeah.
Karen Reed is pretty and white.
Yep.
I mean,
And she's thin.
and then
Oh, I mean, she had
Yeah.
preceding conflict. All the evidence is there.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about somebody, like we talked about earlier, she was losing control of John O'Keefe.
listen to those voicemails for fuck's sake.
Exactly a month before in Aruba or wherever they're vacationing.
Yeah.
She screams across now think about we're in Vegas right now
Yeah,
downstairs. Think about
If
one
I
you
screamed,
screamed across the thing and in a drunken rage, like fuck you, John, and da-da-da, because he was hugging the godmother, or he was the godfather of the woman that he was hugging in Aruba.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So it was family basically. He was just hugging his friend,
Yeah.
Hello, and Karen Reed being the controlling,
Yep.
yells across like in a drunken thing. You're 40-something years old, whatever. How embarrassing.
yeah.
And that just started the whole thing. He was starting to not pay attention to her or whatever, and she
Right.
was feeling all
Gee,
this
I
stuff.
wonder why he started pulling back. I mean, we read the texts, and I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Well, exactly.
She's a lot.
It's all there.
Yeah.
I mean, a year before, I found this researching. I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a police report on her.
Wow.
I think this is on my Instagram as well.
Okay.
But that was filed by her neighbors because she came out in a drunken rage, because they were mowing their lawn and it was making too much noise or whatever. So she went out swearing at him and all this stuff and did this or whatever. And so it got so bad that they had to call the police
Yeah.
Wow.
and filed a police report because she was being abusive, verbally to them and all this stuff. Now, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's there.
Yeah.
Your suspectology, it mirrors back into
Yeah.
the crime. It's, there's no evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guess what, everybody? Karen Reed was a violent drunk.
I know.
There you go.
We knew that.
And
Yeah,
look what the crime was.
Yeah.
yeah.
Someone in a violent, drunken rage
Yep.
did the act, and then right after all the phone messages, it proves it.
Oh, my God.
Her behavior's right there. I mean,
Yeah.
Case closed.
Case closed.
it should have been. I mean,
I know,
and
but
hope-
now.
hopefully the civil trial, she ends up, I don't want to say anything because I don't want anybody
Okay.
following me and
Yeah.
you think Karen Reed did it? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm going to stalk you now.
Oh, God.
Do you think that would happen? Because she is really popular.
I've
right?
seen people
I
do
get it.
crazier stuff in the internet because with their beliefs of someone didn't do it or whatever. I mean, there was that one podcast where didn't somebody kill somebody, the podcaster or whatever. This was years ago because
I don't remember that.
they had a different view or whatever. I forgot what case it
We're
was.
gonna look.
We're
that
going to look
up.
that up. But yeah,
Um,
people need to be right,
Yes.
so strongly, especially nowadays.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
This has been
talking to us.
fascinating. Where can our listeners find ya?
Let's see. Constar Crime Scene.
Okay.
like on YouTube.
And
And
Instagram.
same as Instagram and Substack. Just put Cotton Star,
Yeah.
Yeah.
JonBenet
Okay.
into Google, and you'll find my
Cool.
stuff. Yep.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
Scrolling through my feed, all I see is bullshit, fake news, clickbait. Gotta sift through all of it. Like share, retweet, trying to keep up with the trends, but it's all just a facade, man. It's all pretend. Online bullshit, that's all it is. You say you're living large, but I know it's just a myth. Online bullshit, can't you see? We're all caught up in the nonsense. It's time to break free.